Dear students, today we shall discuss Fourier sine transforms and Fourier cosine transforms. Now let us first of all define what is meant by Fourier sine transform. The Fourier sine transform of a function capital Fx where x lies between 0 to infinity, denoted by f suffix s fx or fsp, is defined as Fourier sine transform of fx is given by 0 to infinity fx into sine px dx. So this is the definition for finding out Fourier sine transform of a function fx. The function fx is called the inverse Fourier sine transform of this function fsp, and we write it as capital Fx is equal to fs inverse of fs, and it is given by the so-called inversion formula. Fx is equal to fs inverse fsp is equal to 2 upon pi 0 to infinity fsp into sine px dp. In case the given function is denoted by fx instead of capital Fx, then its Fourier sine transform is denoted by fs bar p. Now remember that in some books you will find that some authors take the coefficient before the sign of integral in 1 and 2 as under root 2 pi each instead of 1 and 2 upon pi. And the Fourier sine transform as defined above is also called the infinite Fourier sine transform. Similarly, we can define Fourier cosine transform. The Fourier cosine transform of a function capital Fx where x lies between 0 and infinity, denoted by fc of fx or small fcp, is defined as fc fx is equal to fcp is equal to 0 to infinity fx into cos px dx. Like we have done before, the function capital Fx is called the inverse Fourier cosine transform of fcp and is written as fx is equal to fc inverse fcp. It is given by the so-called inversion formula. Capital Fx is equal to fc inverse fcp, which is equal to 2 upon pi 0 to infinity fcp cos px dp. In case the given formula is given function is denoted by fx instead of capital Fx, then its Fourier cosine transform is denoted by fc bar p. Again, you remember that some authors take the coefficient before the integral sign in 1 and 2. In 1 we have coefficient as 1 and equation 2 we have coefficient as 2 upon pi, but in some books you will find that the coefficients are taken as under root of 2 upon pi in both the integrals 1 and 2. The Fourier cosine transform as defined above is also called infinite Fourier cosine transform. So remember these definitions. Fourier sine transform of a function is given by 0 to infinity fx into sine px dx, and Fourier cosine transform of a function fx is given by 0 to infinity fx cos px dx. Now we shall take few examples based on these two formulae. Find the Fourier sine transform of the function capital Fx is equal to sin x when x lies between 0 and a, and capital Fx is 0 when x is greater than a. So now here we have to find the Fourier sine transform of this function. By definition, fs of fx is 0 to infinity fx into sine px dx. So we break into two parts, 0 to a and a to infinity. Now from 0 to a, fx is given by sin x, so therefore here we have got 0 to a sin x into sine px dx, and from a to infinity fx is 0, so a to infinity 0 into sine px dx. Now this term is 0, and for this first term we divide it by 2 and then multiply it by 2. And now you know that 2 sin A sin B is given by cos A minus B minus cos A plus B. So therefore this is equal to 1 by 2 0 to A cos x minus px minus cos x plus px. Take x common from both the brackets. So we have 1 by 2 0 to A cos of 1 minus p into x minus cos of 1 plus p into x. Now integral of cos theta is sin theta. So integration of cos of 1 minus px is sin of 1 minus px upon 1 minus p. Similarly, minus sin of 1 plus p into x upon 1 plus p. Limits are from 0 to A, provided p is not equal to plus minus 1, because otherwise denominator will become 0. So this is equal to 1 by 2 sin of 1 minus p into A upon 1 minus p minus sin of 1 plus p into A upon 1 plus p. Let's take next example. Find the Fourier sine transform of fx is equal to x when x lies between 0 and 1, 2 minus x when x lies between 1 and 2, and 0 when x is greater than 2. So by definition, Fourier sine transform of the function fx is given by 0 to infinity fx into sine px dx. Now here we have to break 0 to infinity into 3 parts: 0 to 1, 1 to 2, and 2 to infinity. So we have this is equal to 0 to 1 fx sin px dx plus 1 to 2 fx sin px dx plus 2 to infinity fx into sin px dx, which can be written as integral 0 to 1 x into sin px dx plus integral 1 to 2 2 minus x sin px dx plus 2 to infinity 0 into sin px dx. So this term is 0, and now we have to integrate these two terms. So we shall make use of integration by parts. So integrating this one, so we have x into integration of sin px is minus cos px upon p, x is equal to 0 to 1, minus integral 0 to 1 d by dx of x is 1 into minus cos px upon p dx plus 2 times integral 1 to 2 sin px dx minus 1 to 2 x sin px dx, which is equal to, put the limits, minus cos p upon p plus sin px upon p square limits 0 to 1 plus 2 times integration of this is minus cos px upon p limits 1 to 2, and now integrate this by parts. So we have minus x into minus cos px upon p limits 1 to 2 minus 1 to 2 1 into minus cos px upon p dx. Now substitute the limits and simplify it. We get it as 2 sin p minus 2 sin p into cos p upon p square. Taking 2 common, we have 2 into 1 minus cos p multiplied by sin p divided by p square. Let's take third example. Find cosine transform of fx is equal to cos x when x lies between 0 and a, and 0 when x is greater than a. So Fourier cosine transform of function fx is given by 0 to infinity fx into cos px dx. Break 0 to infinity into 2 parts, 0 to a and a to infinity. Between 0 to a, fx is cos x, so this is 0 to a cos x into cos px dx, plus a to infinity fx is 0, so 0 into cos px dx, so this term is 0. So we divide first term by 2 and multiply it by 2, so we have 1 by 2 0 to a 2 cos px into cos x dx. Now 2 cos a cos b is cos a plus b plus cos a minus b. So this is equal to 1 by 2 0 to a cos p plus 1 into x plus cos of p minus 1x dx. Integral of cos p plus 1x is sin p plus 1x upon p plus 1. Integration of cos of p minus 1x is sin of p minus 1x upon p minus 1, limit 0 to a, provided p is not equal to plus minus 1. So put the limit. We have 1 by 2 sine of p plus 1a upon p plus 1 plus sine of p minus 1a upon p minus 1. Let's take last example. Find the Fourier cosine transform of e to the power minus x square. So by definition, Fourier cosine transform of e to the power minus x square is 0 to infinity e to the power minus x square cos px dx. Now we have to evaluate this integral, right? So what we do is we suppose that this integral is equal to I. So our aim is to evaluate I. So differentiating with respect to p under the sign of integration. So di upon dp is equal to 0 to infinity e to the power minus x square del over del p of cos px dx. We can take this differential sign inside the integral because 0 to infinity, 0 and infinity are absolute constants. So therefore this is equal to 0 to infinity e to the power minus x square. Now partial derivative of this with respect to p is minus x sine px dx. So divided by 2 and then multiplied by 2, write it as 1 by 2 0 to infinity minus 2x e to the power minus x square into sine px dx. Now integrating this by parts, so we have di upon dp is equal to 1 by 2. We take sine px as the first function, so sine px into integration of this is e to the power minus x square, limits x is equal to 0 to infinity minus 0 to infinity. Now differential of sine px is p cos px, integration of this is e to the power minus x square dx. So therefore when you put these limits, e to the power minus infinity is 0, sine 0 is 0, so this term becomes 0. So di upon dp is 0 minus 1 by 2p integration 0 to infinity e to the power minus x square cos px dx. Now this is nothing but I. This whole thing is minus p by 2 into I. So therefore taking I on the left hand side and dp on this side, we have di upon I is equal to minus p upon 2 dp. Integrating, we have log I is equal to minus p square upon 4 plus log of a. That means log I can be written as log a plus log of e to the power minus p square upon 4. So therefore I is equal to a into e to the power minus p square upon 4. Now to evaluate a, we put p is equal to 0 in this equation 1. So when p is 0, cos 0 is 1. So I is 0 to infinity e to the power minus x square dx, which is under root of pi by 2. Again, if we put p is equal to 0 in this equation, we have on the right hand side this term will become 1 and we are left with a, and I when p is 0 is under root of pi by 2. That means a is equal to under root of pi by 2. So substitute this value of a here in equation number 2. We get the solution as I is equal to under root of pi by 2 e to the power minus p square upon 4. Thank you so much.